Hola! Hello. This is the last video that I'm going to do on how to create your own practice. And today we're going to be focusing on hips. Just like I did in the other two videos, I will go through the practice and then I will go through my notes and then we'll go through the outline. Next week, I'm going to be having you look at creating your own practice and be doing some guiding notes and things for you too. And then we have some fun stuff to do after that if we are still out. Just to give you a heads up, I'll probably be doing 2 practices a week for us to do together, and then we're going to be researching some different kinds of yoga styles. And so I'm going to let you choose on that, what kind you want to do, and we'll talk about that later. So today for hips, let's get started. Remember, we're going to start with a breathing pose on, just got to make sure I'm on that. Good. Okay. A breathing pose for each one. And so today we're going to do our breathing pose. Let me get where you can see my face. Our breathing pose is going to be in child's pose. And I had an article that I think you have to read in the schedule. I think it will be tomorrow on setting an intention. And today, the last subcategory of the article talked about using guidance as a third. So the first one they had was a dedication of gratitude. We did that in the class we did last week. In the balancing pose, we did forgiveness. That's forgiveness for yourself. Another word I actually like to use better than forgiveness is compassion, because that's coming from a gentle place of understanding, even though forgiveness feels like a heavy word to me, like that you have to forget somehow. And compassion is from an understanding of things, either about yourself or about other people. And the last one is going to be about guidance, and that's thinking about something that you need some help with, as easy as that. And so where to get that, and to focus on something you want help with. So we're going to start with child's pose, and I'm going to start from the side so you can see me. Find your space either in your room or if you're lucky enough to have a mat at home. Ray, I was thinking about this. I have your mat at school. We're going to have to get it back to you. Okay, toes are together, knees are apart. Drop your belly in between your legs and really extend your hands out. Today, this breathing pose is actually for your hips too. And so you're going to rest your forehead on the ground. Remember in child's pose, if this is too aggressive in your shoulder joints, you can rest your arms next to your legs, okay? So I'm going to extend my arms out, resting my head on the ground, and you'll notice that your belly might be a little compressed against your legs or your ribs against your legs. Just soften, maybe focusing on the ability of your ribs to rise up behind you. Soft breath out, letting your forehead go into the ground. Couple more breaths. And while we're here, we're going to set our intention for the day. And again, it's looking for guidance. So maybe there's some kind of assistance you want, maybe in homework or assistance in how to deal with a problem that you have at home. But thinking about an intention, and first of all, let's start with the beginning of our practice of identifying what that thing is. So maybe for me, it's going to be better ways to communicate with my students, at school, because it's a totally different way of teaching, and for you, a totally different way of learning. All right, soft breath in. Come up to your hands and your knees. And the first exercise out of 10 for your home practice that I did as an example is hip circles. And so we're just going to do going in a circle one way. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. I did the video yesterday for the standing poses, and while that was fun and effortful, I didn't really feel like I got a good stretch. And now we're going to reverse and go the other way. So, if you find a sticky spot, stay there. I didn't get up as early this morning as this afternoon by this time. So, okay, and come to the middle. So the second pose we're going to do is cow face pose, and we know how to do that one. So I'm going to give you some alternatives on your legs. You choose one knee, it doesn't matter which one. And then you're going to take, this is like the end pose, right? But you don't need to be there. Your foot can be up, and on this side of your knee, it can be across, as long as your hips can be equal. Or if you're going for the full pose, then you're going to have your legs crossed. My right leg is on top. It's going to look like your left leg, I think. So whichever arm, we did this pose yesterday, the eagle pose. Remember, hands, backs of hands together, or take that top arm all the way around, palms up, and lift that hand up. Drop the chin down, take a soft breath. This is pose number 2 for our hip practice. Hopefully you feel it in your hips. I definitely feel it in my hips and my shoulders with my arms. And release gently. We're gonna do that fancy switch. So place your hands behind you, lean way back. Fancy switch to the other side. All right, and I have this leg on top now. So I'm gonna do this arm on top for my arms. Remember, backs of hands are fine. If you like that, you can just kind of use your hand and grip your thumb together so you feel that. Or you can bring hands all the way around. Hands go up towards the sky, shoulders go down, chin drops. And we take a couple soft breaths. Cow face pose. I'm not sure how this looks like a cow face, but that's what they call it, right? And this time I'm going to have you lean to one side. You choose which side. And we're going to go all the way to hands and knees again. And we're going to go into our third pose, which is downward dog, which is actually a hip opener pose. We don't usually talk about that when we do downward dog, but it is considered a hip opener. And part of the hips, I think that they consider hip opener is the hamstrings, because that connects up into our hip joint. So go ahead and curl the toes. Look at your hands. Make sure that there is mat in between each finger and that your fingers are all flat. Sorry, I'm probably getting notifications, so hopefully you won't hear that on the recording. Micro bend your elbow, curl the toes, and hips go up. And before we stretch too much, let's go ahead and just bend one knee and the other, lift up one heel and then the other. And I'm noticing I have one sock on inside out. I'll fix it after class. And go ahead and bend your knees a lot and really lift your hips up so we have a nice flat line between our elbows to our hips. Pressing the heels down towards the floor, but they don't have to touch. And we're just going to take a couple soft breaths here. So this is pose number 3. We did hip circles. We did cow face pose. Feels good on my calves. All right. Lean forward. We're going to go into standing lunge. So I'm going to take one foot forward. Just remember which foot it is. And we're going to bring the back foot in a micro bit. And we're going to come up. So unlike Warrior 1, where the back foot is turned and kind of down, we're just going to keep the back heel up. And if you extend through the back heel and extend the knee, straighten the knee, you can feel it on the front of your hip. And we're going to take our hands up all the way back. And you should feel a nice stretch in the hip in the front of the leg going back. And let's take 3 breaths here. So this is standing lunge, our 4th pose. That's 2. Oh, I'm feeling it in my calf too. And hands go down. Let's transition to downward dog again. Bring that foot back. And I need to rest for a minute. You can rest if you want to. You can take off my socks. I'm sliding quite a bit. Let's flip those guys off. Put them out. Oh, I guess you can still see the camera. All right, so we're in downward dog. Oh, much better. And stepping forward with the opposite foot now. Micro bunny hop your back leg in. And then extend the back leg as you come up. We're going to tuck your tail under so that we have a little bit more stretch in that hip. Sorry, it's kind of cutting off my head a little bit. You hang there. I'm going to adjust the camera. Hopefully that will be better. Okay. So, probably couldn't see my arms in the last pose. Sorry about that. And micro bend those hips under. Interlace your fingers, maybe the opposite hand on the top this time. And let's go back with our arms. And take a couple soft breaths, and we're going to go back into downward dog from here. I had a very nutritious lunch of 3 chocolate chip cookies today. Hopefully you're eating better than me. My breakfast was better, but hands down. Downward dog. Bend your knees. Look forward. We're going to jump or walk into mountain pose. 1, 2, 3. Come up. And come down. So we're going to stand in mountain pose. This is my 6th pose. And it is not a hip opener pose. So remember, on your practice, your home practice, you need to have 6 poses that are within your focus. So the focus today is hips, 6, okay? So roll your shoulders back. This is my 6th pose, but it's not a hip opener. All the other 5 have been. Take a soft breath in. Okay, stand for a minute. I'm going to turn my mat to a diagonal so that I can have you see kind of the side and kind of the front. And since we don't have blocks at home, I want you to be careful and move back to the back of your space and have your feet be almost shoulder distance, but not super wide. We're going to do revolving triangle. And it would be a lot easier if we all had blocks, but because we don't, it's going to be a little bit trickier to balance, okay? I'm just letting you know ahead of time. So this is our next hip opener. So you're going to step forward with one leg. I'm doing it with my right leg right now. And my hips are going to be square to the corner, so they're straight forward. And I'm going to micro bend that front knee. In a triangle pose, I would put the same arm and leg down. In this one, I'm going to put my opposite arm down. So I'm going to put this arm down on the ground. Now, for some of you, depending on the flexibility of your hamstring in the front leg, you might be able to do it with a straight leg. But for most of us, we're going to need to bend a lot. So I want you to place your same hand with leg on your hip. Okay, this is going to be your reminder. You can feel if your hips turn. You want your hips to be square. And we're going to reach forward with our opposite hand and place it on the ground in front of your other foot. So it's about a foot away from the other one. And then we're going to twist and look up towards the sky. And you should feel it in that front leg. So you can straighten or bend that front leg as much as you need to and lift the other hand up towards the sky. Revolving triangle. And why is this a hip opener? Well, you can feel it a lot in that hamstring that connects up into your hip. 2 breaths. And 3. So to come out of it, we're going to place our fingertips on the ground, bend your front knee, and baby walk your hands and your feet back up to mountain pose. That's our transition pose. So revolving triangle was our 7th pose. I'm going to turn the mat to the other side so that you can see me on the other side. All right. I had to steal my husband's because I left mine at work too, so this is his yoga mat. I don't think he's too upset he's at work today. He's a fireman, so he's, out doing firefighter stuff. Okay. Hands on your hips. We're going to do that revolving triangle with your opposite leg. So hopefully you remember which leg. I can still feel in this hamstring. Feet are about shoulder distance apart, and you're going to keep them that way. That'll help you balance. Okay. Step forward with that other foot, straightening the knee, and then let's do a micro bend. Place the same hand on your back and do a little test. See if your hips are equal to the corner. Okay, so we're there. Take the opposite hand. You can bend this knee as much as you need to towards the ground, maybe even setting it flat. And then we're going to rotate up and lift our arm up. And again, that front leg can be as straight or as bent as you need it, as long as you feel it in your back leg, or your front leg, sorry. Rotating triangle pose. This is actually our 5th pose. And we now have order a little bit. And bring that hand down. Walk your fingertips and your feet back up, back into mountain pose. Shake your legs out. Maybe do some hip circles. All right, so we're gonna go into our next pose. I'm gonna do it from the side so you can still see. Sometimes it's harder when I'm going forward to see what's going on. So the next one is a super easy pose. We do it all the time when we're transitioning out of mountain pose, and it's just a forward fold. So we're gonna do some variations today. So take a big breath in, arms come up towards the sky. And you're just gonna forward fold with your knees micro bend either to your shins or the floor, whatever feels good to you, and drop that head down, shake it around. Drop that head down. And we're gonna do an exercise we've done before for variations for our forward fold. Go ahead and interlace your hands to your elbows and just let your arms and your back and your head drop towards the top of the floor. I feel it even a little bit in my back. Yes, I feel it in my hamstrings, but I feel a little bit in my back. 2 breaths. And 3. Place your hands on the ground. Come to a sitting position. Okay. So we are now going to go into some of the sitting hip exercises. So, okay, this next one, I put it on the list. It is one of my least favorites. And if you can, I'm just gonna leave my mat here. This is box, which we've done before. But I'm gonna go to the wall without my mat and review how to do this. So first of all, find a spot where you can put your back against something that's firm. It could be like an armoire, a door, as long as it is nice and flat and won't hurt your back, or just the wall. You're gonna take one of your feet and bring it across so that the front of the shin is parallel to the wall. So instead of your knee being at an angle coming back towards the wall, it's gonna be parallel. And you can already see I have tight hips because my knee doesn't go to the floor. I think we have a couple people in class. I can't remember who, everybody, but their knees will go all the way to the floor. Mine not so much. So for some of us, this is a good enough pose, foot across the top. For some of us who are gonna go a little bit more intensely, remember your ankle goes past your thigh. And you're just gonna sit and you do adjust, bring it back. Whoo-wee. This is pretty intense for me. So you can see that my knee is not going any lower. And I'm just gonna put my hands out because to put even my hands forward puts a little pressure on there. For those of you who you're like, this feels awesome, I could sleep in this pose, remember to try to extend forward and flatten your back out. 2 breaths. And 3. Okay, unwind. And I think my guess is it's called box because the front of your legs are like square like a box. I don't know. I don't make up the names. All right, going to the other side. Again, the shin is parallel with the wall. The heel's not going towards the wall. It's just going straight across. And your foot can be right here as long as you feel it in this hip, or your foot across with the knee up, or if you're joining us with your ankle across this way. Whew. I'm trying to relax because this is pretty intense stretch for me. And 3. Gently come out to one side. I'm going to come back to my mat for the last 2. Okay, so that's 8 poses that we've done. That was box. My next one's one of my favorites. It's pigeon pose, and I love to do this one in dance class and yoga class. So I feel like it's one of the really easy ways to relax in a pose, and it feels good. So if you usually use a block underneath your hip, you can always use the pillow off of your bed or a pillow off the couch or whatever to kind of prop up your hip a little bit. So let's go ahead and pick one knee to go forward, and your back knee, will be down towards the ground and the top of your foot down. And let's go ahead and just go all the way forward to our hands underneath our forehead. Like I said, I love this one because I feel like I can totally release into the floor. And before we finish this one, put your fingertips in front of you, come up, and then, just as a little extra challenge, curl your toes and lift your back leg, back knee off the ground, extending that back knee. And you might feel a more intense stretch on your front hip. You might feel it on the front of your right here or on this leg. And let's release that, and we're gonna go to the other side. So, pigeon pose, back knee down, hands in front of us. We're doing the other side now. And come up to your fingertips. See, I think I can take a nap there. Curl your toes in the back. Lift that thigh off the ground. If it hurts your back at all, you don't need to do this. Just notice my speaker's on. I can hear it from where I'm sitting now. And we have one more that I'm actually modifying from what I have in my lesson plan. So when I show you the notes, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to do a reclining box with a twist. Okay, so you're going to go onto your back first. And we're going to place our hands in a T. And you're going to put one leg over the top. So this is reclining box, but we're going to let the foot go towards the ground. And then we're going to look over our opposite shoulder. And I can feel it a little bit right in through here. This is a gentle, right? We're coming to the end. And I had us going into child's pose again, but I think since we're already laying down, we're just going to stay in Shavasana. So I changed two things on my lesson plans. When you do your lessons for yourself or set your home practice, you might want to try it a couple times because you might need to change it a little bit. Head comes up to the center first. Use that bottom foot to lift the legs to the top, and let's switch sides. Take the other leg over the top. And let that foot go towards the ground. And then twist with your head, looking over the other shoulder. I don't feel as much on this side. It's a little bit in my back. We've talked a lot about in our yoga class about how we're very asymmetrical, right? Our bodies are not equal from one side to the other. So what your right side might need may be different than what your left side might need. That's okay. Just acknowledging it, not ignoring it, not avoiding it. All right, and head comes up to the middle. Knees and feet come up to the middle. And let's go to Shavasana instead of child's pose like I had planned. So extending your legs out, just like yesterday. If this hurts your back, today doesn't hurt my back. But if you need to, go ahead. You can pick up your feet and put them about yoga mat distance apart, and then let the knees fall together. Or you can just lay on your back. And let's just, we're going to do counting breathing today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count out loud. On the even counts, you're going to take a breath in. So like, let's say I count 10, you're going to breathe in, and then I'll count 9, and then we'll breathe out. And if for some reason your breath is at a different rate than mine, no worries. You can do your own counting, okay? All right, here we go. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. And let's take about 30 seconds to breathe normally at your own pace without any counting. And while we're staying in this position, we're going to go back to our intention for the day. Today is guidance. That's our focus. So for me, maybe guidance was better ways to present instruction to my students. You're going to have your own. But at the end, I want you to think about either somewhere that you could go to read something, or a person that you could talk to, or a journaling for yourself that you could do that might give you some guidance in whatever your intention was for today. So for an example, mine might be that I have a really great administration that I can go to and ask questions about what they need for me to do for my students. Or I have other dance and yoga teachers that are great references for me that I could go to. And go ahead and open your eyes if they're closed. Bring your feet up. And let's roll to the side. Okay. I'm going to do what I've done the last couple days, and I'm going to go through the notes so you can just sit or listen, I guess, if you don't want to sit. Oh, we only have 3 minutes. I've been pretty good about timing this out. Okay. Here we go. So we have setting up your own practice. How will you be to breathe? Today we started in child's pose and we ended in Shavasana. Question or thought for your intention. So today was on guidance, something that we want to have guidance on, and you'll read that article about how to send an intention later. Then we have 10 poses. I'll go through those in a minute, at least 6 within your theme. And today our theme was hips. And then number 4, sorry if it's crooked, I can't figure out how to hold the computer. Back to our breathing pose, which for us was Shavasana. And if you want to, you can either do the same pose or a different pose. So you decide what you want to do. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how to get this centered. There, maybe. And then lastly, we reflected our own attention again. I'm going to set the computer down. So hopefully it's still recording. All right. So hopefully that'll be a little bit more standard. So hopefully you can see here. There's no light, no extra light. Let's see. That's a little bit better. Okay. So on my lesson, I don't think that's better. We're going to go back over here. Back to the Brown studio. Okay. So today I had starting with child's pose, and then I had hip circles. That was my first pose. And I have a star next to it because that was within my intention. Cow face pose was second. Downward dog was third. And then we did standing lunge. All of those were hip openers. Okay. And then we had a mountain pose, which I actually have out of order on there, but we did mountain pose, which no, is not a hip opening pose. And then we did rotating triangle. Then we did forward fold. Then we did box sitting at the wall. Then we did pigeon. Then we did reclining box with a twist. I didn't write with a twist. And instead of child's pose down here, I decided I wanted to end in Shavasana because we were already reclining. And so I felt like that was a better way to end the class. So I have 30 seconds left. Oh, goodness. Oh, whew. That felt good today. Okay. So I'm going to post this one, and you're going to write some notes about what we did in class. And then next week, you're going to be designing your own practice. And I'll be doing a little bit of instruction, but if you have any questions, best way to get a hold of me is email, and then I can either write back to you, or if you need me to call you, you can let me know that too. And we'll be doing that the next week. As soon as I know anything more about our schedule, I tell my students I'll always let you know, but that's as much as I know right now. So I hope you're doing well. Get outside this weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.